Now, most singers have a handful of favourite warm-up exercises. Breathing, stretching, yawning, scales, tongue twisters, and they're all great. But what if I could give you one shortcut that did all of those things? Hi, I'm Scott. You're watching Inside Musicals, the channel for all things musical theatre. Now, a warm-up doesn't have to be long if it's effective, if it gets us into the zone fast. And it's as much about checking in with how the voice is today as it is with physically limbering up. We're listening to the voice. We're asking, does it feel easier or more difficult than usual? What adjustments do I need to make to sound my best? We're checking in with those fine motor skills. We're making that mind-body connection to focus on the task at hand. But here's the problem. Most vocal exercises focus on a particular technique, which is great for learning that technique. But it's not how we sing. Stupid exercises. So this quick tip is about putting all of that together, and it's based on how I learn accents. Once I've learned an accent, I create a single phrase that embodies the most idiomatic portions of that accent. The vowel shapes, the rhythm, the energy, the vocabulary, the grammar, where it sits in the mouth and throat. And I lock that phrase into muscle memory for future recall. Even 30 years later, I remember, Uncle George got hit by an ice cream truck. Uncle George got hit by an ice cream truck. A Mississippi accent. That might not be perfect first time, but a couple of repetitions and I'm back up to speed. This one simple phrase unlocks the accent, so I can apply it to whatever other dialogue I'm working on. So here's the tip. For a streamlined vocal warm-up, we choose one song that embodies our vocal technique at its best. We hone the performance, we lock it into muscle memory for later recall to apply to whatever else we're singing. It sounds simple enough. There's a little more to it than that. But remember, the effectiveness of this shortcut is only as good as the work we've put into the song. Kind of like a good habit that's become second nature. So if you're still struggling with technique, this might be a tip you save for later. On the other hand, the song you choose could evolve as your technique evolves, as long as you don't lock in bad habits that then hold you back. Now, if you're not sure how your technique stacks up, this is a great opportunity to work with a vocal coach for some objective input to really hone this song. And I'll leave a link to my How to Sing playlist if you want to brush up on the basics. So how do we choose the right song and how do we make it work for us? Good question. Glad you asked. You asked the best questions. One, it should be a song that we love because we're going to live with this song for some time. Maybe we're drawn to the melody, the lyrics, the style, the story. Two, it should cover as much of our range as possible so we have to navigate those gear changes between registers. Three, it should be slow enough that we have time to consciously adjust our technique. So I choose a ballad to pace my breathing over longer phrases, to lengthen my vowels, to stabilise my pitch and resonance on those vowels, to linger on some of the resonant consonants, make sure my voiceless consonants are crisp and clear, and I'm relaxed in the process. And a slower song gives me time to anticipate not only what I'm singing, but how I'm expressing it, to hear myself in a space, to slip into character, to read the room. Now, in performance, we might focus on subtlety. As a warm-up, we might use a little more intensity to kind of blast out the cobwebs, without strain, of course. Now, if we're too intimate, too soft, too breathy in the warm-up, we're not giving ourselves enough oral or kinesthetic feedback to really optimise our voice. So where the song might start softly, we might use a little more volume, a fuller tone, perhaps a more formal sound, so we know what's working, what's not, the placement, the energy, what we need to accommodate for. Maybe we're a bit congested or tired, or we're singing in a new space. How do we adjust for that? So how about examples? Anyone? Okay, me. I'm a baritone, so for me it's You'll Never Walk Alone from Carousel, or maybe Old Man River from Showboat. They tick all the boxes. They go from about middle C to about G above the stave. And it's a gradual build, so I'm warming up into that intense part of the voice. And by now, I know where they sit in my voice. I know where I can relax, where I can push. They show me to advantage, and that's what makes them a great shortcut. Now, if I really want to warm up the chompers, yes, it's a technical term. With more agility, more articulation, I might go for a song like Funny from City of Angels. It's a little more rapid fire, but it's not a patter song. There's still lyrical line and sustained notes. And while it doesn't go as high as those other songs, I think it goes up to an E flat or something, it's still that slow build. Now for women, navigating that chest voice, mixed voice, head voice, I often suggest songs like My Lord and Master from The King and I, Climb Every Mountain from The Sound of Music. They're both that gradual build from middle C to G above the stave. And I love Oscar Hammerstein's lyrics. He understood how to write for singers, those shapes and sounds in the mouth. Is that an idea for a video? That's a discussion for another time. Now, if your performance is primarily head voice focused, choose a song that naturally emphasizes that upper range. Say, Someone to Watch Over Me, George Gershwin, or Can't Help Loving That Man, Jerome Kern. Likewise, if you're warming up to belt, choose a song that gets you in the zone for belting. Don't Rain on My Parade from Funny Girl. I Don't Know How to Love Him from Superstar. Technically, you could take either of those in mixed tone, but they stay within that top part of the chest voice register if that's what you're wanting to warm up. Now, as with all of these quick tips, it's not the only way to do things. It's one more tool to add to the arsenal. And while it's simple enough to understand, it's powerful once you unlock its potential. So if you know anyone who could benefit from this tip, share the video. But what's your go-to warm-up song? And what's your voice type? And share them in the comments, because we'd all benefit from that. But for now, thank you so much for watching. You know I love you. Now get out there and be brilliant.